Pepperoni cheese bread.
Hey everybody, Garrett the baker here. See what I did there? No, the bread machine makes me feel like a baker though. And today I'm making one of my favorite savory breads. So what we're going to do, this is just a basic country white bread. And I actually got it in the recipe book that came with my bread maker. It's going to be 1 cup of warm milk, about 110 to 115 degrees Fahrenheit. 1.5 tablespoons of butter or margarine. I'm using butter. 1 large egg. 1.5 teaspoons of salt. 4 cups of bread flour. 1.5 tablespoons of sugar. And 2 teaspoons of active dry yeast. And I'll put that recipe in the description, of course, as well. So you're going to put these in based on your bread maker's recommended order. I think typically a lot of them go with the liquid ingredients first. So I've already got my little bread paddle in here. I'm going to put my egg in. I'm going to put my 1.5 tablespoons of butter. And I'm going to go ahead and put my milk. I use a thermometer. It is at 114 degrees. I didn't want to risk it just to get that 115. But you don't want it too hot. It's a fine line like anything in baking. You want it to be warm enough to activate the yeast, but not so hot that it kills the yeast. So I'm using bread machine yeast and bread flour for this recipe. So went ahead and put all our liquid ingredients into the bread pan. And now we're going to put all our dry ingredients in, except our yeast. We're going to put it in last. So it's right here is 4 cups of bread flour. And hopefully I don't make a complete mess. I don't know if you've ever spilled 4 cups of bread flour before, but that is a lot of a mess. Alright, so now it's right here. I'm going to put in my sugar and salt. And then I'm going to take my finger, make a little well. And I've got my 2 teaspoons of active dry yeast. And that right there is going to be the base. We're going to load it up into the bread machine. And that's going to do pretty much all the hard work for us. This is going to be a savory, like I said, savory bread. Pepperoni cheesy bread too. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in and let the bread machine do its first cycle. And then we'll go ahead and then we'll put our chopped pepperoni and cheese in. And we'll go from there. But you don't want to put your chopped pepperoni and cheese in just yet. Alright, so I got my bread machine here. Couldn't be much more simple to use. Just lift the top. Then this right here, we'll sit down. There's a little place to catch it. And 2 little clips on the side of the handles. You'll hear that snap in. So we will close the top. And mine is very easy right here. You got the menu first. So we're going to do loaf size. And you might be able to see on the screen, this is a 2-pound loaf, which is what it defaults to. But if you're doing something smaller, you just press the button to change it. We're going to leave it on 2-pound loaf. It's got a 3-hour and 25-minute cycle, start to finish. And then next is your crust color. You got light, medium, dark, and rapid. For this, it's personal preference. I'm doing light. And you got different ones you can go through. 2, 3, 4, French bread, whole wheat, sweet, dough. I've used it just for dough, but I'm going to get back to 1. I'll make sure that my loaf size is still at 2 pounds. Got to get my crust color back to light. And then next thing, all we got to do now is hit the start button. And it's going to do its thing. So when it gets to 3 hours and 20 minutes, that's when the dough rests for 5 minutes, which is where we're at right now. So 3 hours and 20 minutes. I got about 5 minutes to move over about 2 feet to my left and get my chopped pepperoni and cheese. I got a cup of each. I didn't pack it down or anything. I loosely packed it. And you can see right now, you can feel it. It's got a little bit of a moisture to it, but not too much dry. It's going to work some more too. I don't want to add anything extra as far as liquid goes right now because there's going to be a little bit of the grease in the pepperoni. It's going to go as well. So I'm just going to pour this in. So I got my pepperoni and cheese in. I ain't got to do this, I just did it. But now, like the legend, Ron Popeil, just set it and forget it. Not quite. You can see it's a 319. There is one thing that I'm going to do. Pretty much you could just set it and forget it now at this point till it's baked and ready to butter up and eat. But one thing I do, and it's, I guess technically against the manufacturer's recommendation, but at the end of we'll get to about the 2 hour, 55 minute mark is whenever it does its last rise for 39 minutes. At the end of that, we're going to take the dough out and just take that paddle out at the bottom. That way I don't have to fish it out with the bread hook later. That's completely optional, but that's just how I do it. You can see the dough starting to mix. If you feel like it's too dry, you need to add a little something, you can. I got about 5 minutes left on this dough cycle. So I got just a little warm milk. It's a little drier. I know it's going to cook a little bit, but just a splash or two is all you need. And this right here, I did put a lot of pepperoni and a lot of cheese in it. So just helping out, but it's got about 5 more minutes of kneading, and then it'll go into its first rise. Alright, so just finished. You want to be careful, open it up. Some steam may come out. That right there is done. Like I said, I chose the lighter crust color. Personal preference. So I'm going to take my griddle glove here. We'll just pull right out. Alright, we made it back to the taste test table. See, I got the griddle gloves on, and it's still toasty. I'm going to show you, though, how simple it is to get this out. Ta-da! So, I went with a light colored crust. You could do it more medium, darker. You're not going to get the, that top, obviously, not as toasty. You can see maybe a little indentation there where I took out the little bread paddle there as a personal choice, but that way I don't have to fish it out. It'll give a little indent, but hey, it works for me. So I'm going to cut off the end here. Fun moment. What do you call the ends of the bread? I call them the heel of the bread. Other people say differently. So let's see what people say. Drop a comment. Take the bread knife. Shake the whole table here. And there you go. You got that pepperoni cheese. This is a little bit of a denser type bread. That's how I like it. But like I said, we got a cup of pepperoni in there, a cup of cheese. You can see it all throughout. You could even put some garlic in there. Chives, whatever, make it your own. But I am going to do a little taste of it here. Butter it up. It's times like this I wish I had my chef's chamois in stock. It really is some good stuff, or at least have made my own. I needed more butter regardless. It's not enough butter for my liking. Here we go. Can't beat fresh made bread. It just took me a few minutes to get it going. Bread machine does all the work. If you had a, like a loaf pan or something, you want to do your own, different shapes, whatever, a lot of possibilities. But I am going to hopefully not choke trying to talk to you, waiting the bread. I'm going to keep eating on this, and usually, as always, when it comes to the bread machine, talking about it, I'd like to thank my longtime friend Cecil for turning me on to bread machines. I think they're wonderful. So, if you saw something you liked in this video, I hope you consider to please like, comment, subscribe, share, and turn on post notifications so you know when new content's added to the channel. Like I said, appreciate you taking time to watch the video. Until next time, this is Garrett the Griddler saying, let's keep cooking. Did you know the modern bread machine was invented in 1986 by what is now known as the Panasonic Corporation? However, it was in 1902 that Joseph Lee received a patent for the first bread machine. His invention would go on to revolutionize commercial bread making. Mr. Lee would be inducted in the National Inventors Hall of Fame in 2019, which, if you ask me, is about over a century too late. I guess it's safe to say that Mr. Lee was the best thing before sliced bread.